Hi, and welcome to a sound clip from our Bible study discussions every Tuesday night from 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. in Pakalani. Please enjoy.
What we're going to do today, like I promised, for those that were here last week, we're just going to discuss, open discussion, what we learned in the year. It may not even be here, but we're just going to give each other spiritual bits and bites of what God has taught us in the year. Because that's what Christians should do. Hey, I had an exciting experience with God and this is what I learned. And we can learn from each other and even have our lives impacted, even from something as simple as a discussion and sharing what has happened. But just to kick things off, I just want to continue from last week where we talked about giving. And basically the point for those that were not here last week is when we talk about giving, the majority of people instinctively think about money. And we agreed that giving is not money. And for a couple of weeks we've been talking about how we can't just be believers of Jesus, we have to be followers of Jesus. And if we're thinking about following Jesus, we need to also follow him in terms of the principle of action of giving. How did Jesus give? And we asked each other, how many times did you see in the Bible that Jesus said, Judas, bring the church coffers, or bring the the discipleship wallet, or Judas, go and swipe this for somebody? Like, it's not there. Like, if it's there, it's not the predominant show of how he gave. We see him giving people a lot of his time. We see him giving people even something that perhaps we can't even give, but the gift of healing. He healed a lot of people. He taught a lot of people. He counseled a lot of people. But ultimately, he gave his life. So it's a tough act to follow, but that's the call of being a Christian. If we are following Jesus, we have to give the way he gave. And I also referenced 2 Corinthians 8, verse 1 to 5. So that's 2 Corinthians 8, verse 1 to 5. Moreover, brethren, we make known to you the grace of God bestowed on the churches of Macedonia, that in a great trial of affliction, the abundance of their joy and their deep poverty abounded in the riches of the liberality. For I bear witness that according to their ability, yes, beyond their ability, they were freely willing. That's a key bit of words there. They were freely willing, imploring us with much urgency that we would receive the gift and the fellowship of the ministering to the saints. And not only as we had hoped, but they first gave themselves to the Lord, and then to us by the will of God. So that's verse 5 again. And not only as we had hoped, but they first gave themselves to the Lord, and then to us by the will of our God. So, like I mentioned last week, Jesus, even when he had to commit the ultimate sacrifice, had to surrender to the will of the Father, had to give himself to the Lord first before giving to us. And that's a key thing. If we're going to follow Jesus, we need to give ourselves to God first and then give to others. So, to close off, basically what I'm trying to say here, I want us to end 2022, because this is our last meeting in 2022, physically, until we open again in January. I want us to end 2022 with an assignment. Give yourself to someone this festive season. We have a lot of free time. We have space. I was actually going to say, let's do it among each other find someone in this Bible study that you can give an hour of your time. It doesn't even have to be, hey, it's expensive, let's go and have some pizza, or let's go have ice cream. Personally, I value even something as simple as we bring a camp chair, we sit in your yard and we drink water, we drink tea, we drink coffee, we have a chat, no pressure, with pata. It doesn't have to be that deep, because the key is not to give the way Instagram says we should give. The key is to give of ourselves. So let's bring down the facades or the pretenses or the pressure to give in a certain way. But let's have a heart to heart as people. So like I said, I was going to say let's do it among ourselves, but I feel like the Spirit of the Lord is bigger than a Bible study. If the Lord is actually leading you to give of yourself to someone else that's not here, please do it this festive season. Meet up with an old friend, meet up with an old classmate. Say, how are you really? Ask them, how are you really? Discuss spiritual matters. Open the Bible if need be. Have a heart to heart. Let's copy. Wash feet. Wash their feet. Jesus washed their feet. What that doesn't, like I said in the other teaching, that's not literal, right? But the highest authoritative person in that room that day when Jesus washed feet was Jesus. And he had the humility to offer that kind of a service. So washing feet may mean you do some chores with them. Some sort of service. Oh, you're going to the Mraka, you're going to plow. I'm offering myself for the day. We can discuss life and just have a good time together. Maybe that's your version of washing feet to that person. But that's just my charge to you, that let's not just be listeners of the word, let's be doers of the word. And give ourselves to the Lord first. And then find someone that you can give yourself to this festive season. Amen. I'm going to stop there. And stop this recording, and then we can discuss, we can spin off of what I've shared just now, or we can go on a tangent. Sorry, what I omitted to say in the recording, that it's not easier. It's easier said than done. Because when you're giving yourself to people, there's a reason that this is not normal. There's a reason that it's not the prevailing culture. There's a reason people are keeping to themselves. There are hurts that happen when you give, because if you're vulnerable with someone and you show your vulnerability, because sometimes that's what it means when you give yourself to someone. It's like you have to level with them, and that sometimes means you being vulnerable. And unfortunately, that's the life that we have. You have to be strong. Hey, you have to just be strong if you want to follow Jesus. Because if Jesus didn't want to bleed, none of us would be saved right now. And I'm not saying go and bleed, right? But I'm just saying whatever fear you have in giving yourself to someone this festive season, especially as the Lord leads you, just perhaps remember that the spirit of fear is not of the Lord. And giving into that spirit of fear is obstructing the will of God, obstructing obedience to God by way of giving yourself to others. So it's not fun. It could be costly, because time is the one thing you can't get back. And that's probably the other reason people are not willing to say, okay, I'm going to spend some time with some mama. I'm going to go out of my friendship circle and go risk spending time with someone else, because there's a premium we place on our time, because we can't get our time back, and we want to be as fruitful as possible with our time. But I'm just going to encourage you that as hard as it is, as hard as it is to not give in to that fear, please don't give in to that fear. Obey the word of the Lord, and like I said, it doesn't have to be people here. I would prefer that it is low-key, because I like to see people here start at home with charity. Charity begins at home. Yeah, I mean, so the next thing, like, you've been praying with people for 12 years and you don't even know their family situation. You've been praying with people for 12 years in Bible study and you don't even know that you offend them sometimes. Those are some of the things that come up when you're talking one-to-one with people. Yeah, by the way, I don't like how you're candid about this thing. It offends me. You know what I mean? So I would actually prefer that let's also be intentional as much as we can. Yeah, but like I said, I hate club mentality and I feel like God hates it as well. It doesn't have to be about Bible study. Find who God leads you to give yourself to. But do not fear. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking your time to listen in. Feel free to add your thoughts in the comment section or join us in person if and when you can. May God bless you.